a site called autismbrain.net or Autism Brainnet. Anyway, the article that they have is on chopping up our brains after we're dead. You want to find a cure for autism? There isn't one. There doesn't need to be one. The cure is your ignorance and stupidity. That is your cure. That's your cure, but you don't stop to think about us at all. In your minds, we might as well be an alien species. There's a lot of people that typed on it. People typing, oh, well, my grandsons are autistic, or my granddaughter's autistic, or things like that. Well, okay. Now that we know that they're autistic, what's your point? Why are you typing on this one among all of the things that you could have typed on about autism? Why is it that the one about chopping our brains up is the one that you type that shit on? Bullying and reactions to bullying, that's not a social issue. It's not our social issue anyway, it's yours. It's your choices and your decisions. Oh yeah, sure, you say it's wrong, but when it happens, what do? You look the other way, you let it happen. You just let it happen. We don't need our brains chopped up. We're not the problem, you are. You think it's okay to take out all of your shit on people who are different. You think it's okay to destroy their entire lives because of your ignorance, and it's not okay. It's never been okay. This is a messed up world that we live in, ain't no doubt about that. But it's a messed up world because of that ignorance. You'd rather hate somebody and destroy them than find out anything about them. You'd rather pick up a gun and go shoot somebody in a foreign country and pretend it's for our rights than actually stand up to our own government and fight for our rights here where they're actually at risk or gone. There's no BLM for the disabled. We have to depend on others who are weekend warriors. There's no vested interest in it for them. For many of our parents, they'd rather hold on to the last few years that they might end up having with their child. Well, their child might end up being 60 years old, but mom is still not helped. She wants to keep them close, keep them under supervision, make sure nobody touches her little boy, or whatever. I know a lot of mothers like that of autistic kids. Most of them, though, when that kid becomes an adult, they want to dump them off somewhere. If they're low functioning, you dump them off in a facility. If they're high functioning, you dump them off on the streets. And you tell them, oh, well, you have the same chances of everyone else, same chances as everyone else. And that's just complete bullshit. The Aspie world, he does clickbait. That's what he does now. And he's making it worse for us because we've got so many of our numbers being forced into homelessness, being used to fill the prisons, ending up on the kill roster. Who got killed this week? Oh, well, mostly disabled homeless men. People who are dumped off on the streets. People who you pretend deserve it. Just because somebody is on the streets does not mean that they're a druggie. They might not have the supports that you have. I had a lot of people in a lot of different places, everywhere but in the courtroom where it was needed, though. That's where it was needed. Do you have any idea how many court dates I had to go to myself? Nearly all of them. There's very few that somebody actually went with me to. It was people who needed to be witness, or needed to be, that were witnesses, that needed to, come forward about what they knew. And they needed to know what was going on. If they didn't know what was going on, how are they going to help me? I already knew what these assholes were going to do. I mean, fuck, my mouth is dry. I'd already seen it time and time and time again. The mentally ill treatment, where they pretend that you're schizophrenic and violent and do whatever the fuck they want to you and say they were afraid. They victimize you and then say that they were afraid. They were afraid. You say, oh, Sean, you have to understand. You have to understand. You have to understand. I do understand. It's you who does not. I see the excuses you make when you don't get exactly what you want right when you want it. When you don't keep your word for 7 months, and then you throw a tantrum at me and say, oh, Sean, you're just throwing a tantrum because you don't get everything you want right when you want it. No, I didn't get anything I wanted. I didn't get anything I wanted. What I wanted was for these people to come forward and tell the truth. What I wanted was for the courts to look at the fucking evidence. What I wanted was for somebody to be there with me when I had to turn this shit into the cops. Somebody who was informed. So the cops wouldn't and couldn't blow me off like they did. I told you what would happen if I had to go in alone. I would get the mentally ill treatment. And it is a horrible treatment. When you are abused and they call you mentally ill, all you have to look forward to is a lifetime of abuse. And we've got these abusive parents. Some of them must think that they're going to live forever. Because, well, what's the first thing that happens when those parents are both gone? Cops go out there to that person's place, round them up, and fucking put them in a home. I mean, who's going to take care of them? They can't take care of themselves. You won't let them. You victimize the shit out of them for trying to tell on their fucking predators. You try to shove drugs down their throats for something that doesn't fucking hurt anybody. You take away all of their autonomy, but you give them all of their responsibility. You are not to be held responsible because of all these excuses that you have. But you can hold your child who is not capable of doing the things that you can do. You can hold that child responsible for your actions, can't you? You can blame that child because they're autistic, because they're different. It makes it okay, doesn't it? Well, it's not okay. It's horrible.